Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are somewhere somehow in time. I don't know, night, day, afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to see you all here for what is essentially our last live uh, roundtable discussion of the year. We will have more shows on Sunday. We have 2 more Sundays to go, but they will be pre-recorded, so that I'm not taking away anybody's time from their families in this holiday season and what have you. But we've got two more great shows. In fact, next week's we'll talk about a little bit later. But that being said, welcome to the show. It is December 12th, 2021. I had to check that because I can't believe it myself how late in the year it is. But that being said, welcome. And it's nice to see you all here. So we have a great show and a great panel with me. And I'm just going to go right into it because, I was kind of joking with the group, and I know this is kind of going to come off a little weird, but I was kind of joking with the group early on in the week about how I've been enjoying this format where something happens in the news and we talk about it in the first 10 minutes, and we've really we explore that, and then we get into the fun topic. Well, today's not so fun news this morning, because I think it's worthy of talking about. Uh, Although she was a traditionally published author, she's very influential on a lot of people. I'm sure folks here as well. And I know for a fact that she helped a lot of indies, help them get started. I mean, literally, help them. Not just like with her writing. People wrote to her, talked to her, and she helped them get into the business and give them advice and things like that. She was always gracious with her time, from what I've heard. And that is unfortunately the sad news that Anne Rice passed away this morning at the age of 80. And I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity, if they wanted to talk a little bit about her and what she meant to you, and her writing and everything of that nature. So I know for me, I wasn't the biggest fan of her writing, but like I said, I always admired the fact that she was so open to people and was willing to talk to people, and I really appreciated that so much about her. So that's my 2 cents. How about for everybody else?
I was never a big fan of her writing. I mean, I'm not big in purple prose. I don't like that. But the very first book I ever read of hers was Interview with a Vampire back in the 80s. I mean, a jillion years ago. And the thing that I remember most and what I loved and thought was fascinating was this weird relationship she went into between Louis Lestat and Claudia. That to me is fascinating because what she did was she took three aspects of vampires. She had the human vampire, Louis, who hated being a vampire, the hedonistic vampire, Lestat, and then you had the true vampire, Claudia, who knew nothing more than being a vampire. The vampire was not even a thing. She was never human. She's always been, in her mind, always vampire. And as a kid and as a writer, I've always thought about that. That was the one thing that I remember the most. Other than that, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was really a cool idea. I never really got into the other ones. I just couldn't get into the whole thing of Lestat being a rock star. It wasn't my thing. It's just not my thing. But I have to give her kudos and props for marketing. The bitch knew how to market. She knew. She would go to the cons in a coffin and come out. She knew how to work it. I give her kudos for that. And she seemed to be really good to her fans until she wasn't. And then I think she became, again, better with her fans later on. Because there was a point in time where she was not good to her fans. And other than that, I didn't know the woman. But I know she had a big influence on vampire literature. Kudos. But other than that, I mean, I'm sorry for her family. I mean, I read what her son wrote, and it was just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So her family must be just torn apart. But kudos for her. She left a great mark on literature. So put out for the homie. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty gutted. Anne Rice was one of my favorite authors. You can see I have them. There's part of her shelf. She'll have another shelf downstairs once we get the bookshelves reset up. But I read Anne Rice as a teenager, as an adult, young adult. Anne Rice, Stephen King, Clive Barker, Dean Koontz, like all of them. And the thing, and as much as I love Stephen King, and I love Stephen King, flaws and all, but Anne Rice was a woman doing it. So there was a whole other level to my admiration for her and how I looked up to her. And so, like, to the point where when I was in New Orleans years ago, when she was living there, I actually found her house, and I just kind of stood outside her house, looking at her house, going, "I don't want to be that fan." This was before I was really writing. I don't want to be that fan who comes up to the door going, "Hi, I'm a big fan." So I didn't want to be that person, but I can remember just standing in front of her house, just being in awe that I was like on the same ground that Anne Rice was on. And I'm pretty, I always found her very inspirational, I think. So I'm pretty gutted.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I never read any of her books, and I wasn't a fan. But she's definitely was an icon of the modern horror genre, and her legacy is great, and she will be missed.
Oh, and if you've read or not read Interview with a Vampire but didn't like it, try The Witching Hour. The Witching Hour is hands down her best book that I have ever read.
Interview with the Vampire.
The later books of the series I didn't like at all, but the first book is gorgeous. It is stunning. And the things that you liked about Interview with the Vampire, you will probably like about The Witching Hour.
Cool. I'll check it out. I do understand about, like, when I stood on the steps of Flannery O'Connor's childhood home, I was just, because people who live there are not, of course, but I'm just like, oh my God, she used to live here. I know the feeling. Yeah. It was just, I was that girl. Yeah.
For me, the influence was the movie, because literally this week I mentioned that I prefer the movie
young.
to the.
You're such a baby.
Yes, you're so young.
I prefer the movie to the book, but here's the thing. Versus other authors whom I can comfortably say they suck or anything. With her, I was always very precise in saying her writing was not my cup of tea, but in terms of the narrative and the storyline and the story arcs, I always enjoyed what she did. And it's curious that the movie connected better with me. Maybe it's because I was a kid and I watched the movie. And then when I read the book, I couldn't be able to adjust that. The impressive thing about her is that all the tropes that people bitch about, she came up with more than half of them in terms of the vampire genre. People, bash or quote Bram Stoker in terms of Dracula, but in terms of influence of modern day vampires, even my books have a lot of influence from her. And I'm not a fan in terms of her writing, but how she was. And another thing that I was a fan about, even though that she might have had some lapses with her fans because people can get weird, but how she conducted herself publicly, I always enjoyed. And she didn't, she played hardball in interviews, and she would clap back. And I always enjoyed that she was very honest, and she always stuck to her guns. And to have someone of her caliber give of her time to, being an indie, it's easy to feel insignificant. It's probably something that most of us have felt at some point or another. And for someone of her caliber to say, I'm going to help you out, what the fuck?
That's great.
Let's just call a spade a spade. You liked the movie because Brad Pitt was shirtless.
Nope.
It's not like he's never been shirtless in any other movie.
Right.
True.
It's in his contract. He has to be shirtless and wet, at least in one of the scenes.
And what? It's one of the few movies that I actually really enjoy Kirsten Dunst in.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought she was brilliant in it.
And you You did mention something. I'm sorry, Ron. If you want to jump in here, I'll just give you a second. But
It's just
you
Ron.
did mention something that I wanted to touch on real quickly, which was the idea that she created tropes and did this. In one of the articles I read about her this morning, I read like 3 articles this morning about her, and one of them mentioned how she was the most imitated author of
Oh,
her
yeah.
time because she was a female doing vampire fiction, doing dark gothic fiction, and there was a lot of imitators. There was a lot of, and I can remember a
still
couple
are.
of them.
There
Yeah,
still are.
but
Oh, yes.
like
Oh.
like she sparked a whole thing with the publishing industry that was kind of like, I always talk about in film how these studios, they tend to like mimic one another because they see something becomes popular and then they want to put a movie out similar to it. The
3
publishing
disaster
industry
films.
gravitated toward her like nobody else. So
And she cosplayed. She cosplayed before other authors. I mean, who else cosplays like she does?
Right.
So yeah. She
Ron,
was. She knew how to market.
Ron, did you want us to share your thoughts?
Sure. I read several of her books. I was a low-level fan. I didn't even know all the stuff you guys have been talking about in terms of the cons and the marketing. But, I mean, she lived to 80. I'm like, congratulations. I mean, like, for me, when a celebrity death is in the news, if they're, 70 years over, I'm like, I mean, you had a great life. If they're like 25, you're like, oh, that's sad. But, I mean, congrats to her for a long, successful career and life.
Yes.
And doing it
Yeah.
on her terms. That's, how many people can out. You see a lot of people bend to the will of others. She didn't
Nope,
seem
she
like she
didn't.
had any of that.
No.
She absolutely did not. Give her kudos.
That's why it took so long for Interview with a Vampire to be made. And do you remember when like Tom Cruise was cast? Ooh,
she
she
was
was
The
not.
uproar. Oh my God. Yes.
But she did say afterwards that he did a good job.
Right,
So
'cause
like
she was pissed. She did
yeah,
not like
she
it.
was. Oh, she was hot.
Because I don't like Tom Cruise.
But the thing is, she gave kudos. Like she had very strong opinions, but she gave kudos. She was like, all right, well, clearly he was able to do this role because he did a good job.
He did. He did a great role as Lestat.
Yeah, and
She's
she admitted that is what I mean. Like she
gave. Oh yeah. The woman had a core, had a very strong moral core, and she would. If she was wrong, she would say she's wrong.
Yes.
How many authors have had their movies adapted? That every time a Stephen King adaptation gets released, you want to see what he has to say, and it's very rarely something positive, or at least
It's why he started making his own movies.
Yeah,
but
which didn't really help.
No, but it's like half. He hated The Shining, but I read an interview that he said that it was a Cadillac without an engine.
Right.
And I'm like,
He walked
it's
down
pretty to look at.
However, like what was it? Stand by Me. He walked out of it at the very end, and Will Wheaton saying, "Oh my God, I thought he hated it," but no, the deal was he was pissed off that he hadn't thought of that ending. He's like, the ending of the movie was better than the ending in the book, and it pissed him off.
That's not surprising because Stephen King flubs the endings.
He can't land.
No,
he
does not land well.
He splat
again. Like, when I said like the whole, I love him, flaws and all. That's one of them.
Just not good at ending. No.
Yeah, my favorite book of his, he doesn't end it well either, and that's Misery. Misery is my favorite book of his.
Misery.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think that. I thought he should have ended it right when it ended, and then he carried it on for another 2 chapters. And I'm just going,
okay, but it's like 2 chapters or whatnot. It's not. I always a lot of people refer to 1994 as one of the best last lines of a book, and I agree. I got a lot of hype for it, and when I read it, I was like, shit, I don't feel well. But when it comes to bad lines, Dan Brown's Angels and Demons, the last sentence of that book is such a turd of a sentence.
Oh, please tell.
Something of it was like a teenager wrote it about something about a yoga instructor, and that he was basically that he was gonna get laid, and it's like, fuck. I don't know. He wrote it when he was 15. Acting was doing its thing, and he had a collection of he had a stash, and he was like, I'm gonna put this in a book, and he stuck to it because it's just awful.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Stan Brown, but again, crying all the way to the bank. Yeah.
well, sorry, Anne, that this turned into a
It did. I'm
bashing
sorry.
other
No,
authors.
Anne
But,
doesn't care. She's off.
but thank you
Partying,
so much
so.
for your contributions to the community and for what you've done. You will be
Oh,
missed, and thank you
nice.
so much for being there. And we'll take a moment just to be silent, and then we'll go back to having fun, I think. Okay, so gotta get rid of that. We'll do this. Yeah, technical issues, everybody.
Technical.
Gotta love being live. All right, we are back, and before we get into the fun stuff, let's have everybody introduce themselves real quickly so that everybody knows who everybody is. And if you don't know already, I mean, everybody here has been on the show multiple times, but regardless, I always like to make sure that when we have new viewers, they get to know you. So, Nikki, why don't you start us off?
Hi, I'm Nikki Nelson Hicks, and I write speculative and weird horror stories. If you want to put a little weird in your Christmas stockings, you can go down to my little thing there to find my books, or just go to Amazon and look me up. Thanks.
Nice. I love that you're marketing. That's awesome.
Marketing.
Nice. Very good.
Where's
Suck
the
at it.
coffin?
It's so hard.
All right, Vanessa.
Hey, I'm Vanessa Junta. I write urban fantasy with horrific elements and horror short stories and all kinds of stuff. Horror always seeps into my stuff for whatever reason. Anyway, you can find me right there at my website, www.vanessajunta.com.
I like how everybody's kind of adopted that a little bit, putting their little name in there and everything. JD?
Greetings, fellow humans. I'm JD Estrada. I'm a Puerto Rican indie author who lives in Atlanta because I wanted to see the season premiere of the real life Walking Dead. I write poetry, nonfiction, short stories, urban fantasy, middle grade, and A Partridge in a Pear Tree. My latest release, which is Jack Skellington approved, is Rhymes from the Wicked Nursery. It is worthy of the Addams Family library for bedtime stories. I like to have fun. Look for JD Estrada Writer on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the YouTubes, and you shall find me.
Awesome. Great book. Everybody needs to go get it. All right. Anita?
Well, hello. I'm Anita Stewart. I write under AF Stewart. Horror, darker fantasy, poetry. I do not have my name listed, my website listed, because I'm a rebel. But you can find me at afstewart.ca. I think that's it. Anyway, it's a website out there somewhere. Just Google me. And my latest is a poetry book, Poetry of Monsters and Madness, which I do not have because I forgot to put the book on my desk. So
There you go. She's a rebel.
More rebel antics. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Awesome. Welcome. All right, Ron?
Hello, my name's Ron Lahr. I write fantasy, science fiction, humor, mixes of the above. I'm a follower, so I have my website listed in my name. I just want to get along. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm happy with that. Buy my books.
Good marketing. Excellent.
Marketing.
Subtle.
Yes.
Subtle.
It's my
Almost.
favorite.
Buy my books.
Almost like a post-hypnotic suggestion.
All right. So I gave everybody some questions to kind of ponder during the week. I don't know if anybody pondered them, but I'm going to ask them anyway. So if you're not ready,
I did because I love homework.
awesome. Well, we'll start with you.
It's been so long.
We'll start with you, sir.
Yeah, I'll just take it.
What do you remember most artist-wise about 2021 for yourself?
Ugh, that was a shit question for me. Not an attack on Joe, but the process I went through going. I read that question. I was just like, ugh.
It's all right. You can crap on me. It's fine.
No, it wasn't you at all. It was just this was a rough year for me, and it turned out what I learned was how bad I am at writing when life sucks around me, like writing through depression, or even editing, just doing the job.
Yeah.
Because when I started writing again a few years ago, one of my friends got me into it, and we would, motivate each other. I mean, like, I wrote 7,500 words today, and what we talked about was how if we didn't have jobs, how much we could get done. Just wouldn't it be amazing? We could write. I mean, it felt like we could write dozens of books a year if we just had the time. We weren't wasting time at work, and we are both not working right now, and he's writing a ton. I mean, he's such a fucking asshole, and I'm not getting near what I expected I would get done, just because of the family stuff, and my mom has Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's a mess, really bad. It's like the worst I've ever experienced. She had Alzheimer's, then she got some mini strokes, so it's made it stunningly unpleasant and awful. Yes. Thank you. That's very sweet. The one person who said that.
Sorry.
Rest of you.
Go to hell, y'all of you.
No, I'm just kidding.
We're letting you talk.
Yeah,
I know what.
I was muted. I said something, but I was muted.
We're talking something heartfelt. It's like, now I'm going to tell you.
But so my dad is having a really hard time dealing with this, and I mean, it's just a mess. And so that's when I thought. I mean, and yeah, I guess in a way, be careful what you wish for. Although, to be clear, I wished for the time to write, not my mom to be attacked by a brain-eating disease. But, it has not worked out the way I thought. So,
Universe is a bastard.
Merry New Year.
And, I feel that. Like, I went through a lot. I've had a really bad 2 years. Those of you who know, in the middle of the pandemic in 2020 in July, a tree fell and demolished my living room.
Oh my God.
So, but at the same time as that was happening, I was the main contact person because of the pandemic. My brother and I used to pass off helping with my stepdad who had Alzheimer's and also a lot of physical stuff. We would take him to his doctor's appointments and all that. But my brother's a cop, so he's forward facing. So during the pandemic, it was all me. So like I oofed in commiseration with you, Ron, because Alzheimer's is the worst. So for me, the past 2 years as an artist has been like, I'm in the same boat. When my life has imploded, I cannot write. I just like, it hurts to try to write, and it's like, and then I feel crappy because I'm not writing. And then that makes me not want to write more. And it's a downward spiral. So like, I have all of the empathy for you in your situation right now. It is so, so hard. So for me to answer the question, the thing that I remember most artist wise for me, and my creativity, which has been kind of non-existent for a while, is this year in November, just a few weeks ago, I went to the 20 Books to 50K Vegas show. Yeah. And it was really good from a learning perspective anyway. But I came home from it and apparently something clicked for me. And I finally felt excited about my writing again and my writing business, like even the business side, because for 2020 and 2021, like I wasn't doing any marketing. I still had my Amazon ads running, but I wasn't doing anything with them. So of course they weren't, optimized or anything like that. And it's just like, I was putting out Vela episodes and that was it. That was the only thing I was making myself do. And so when I came back from the 20 Books show, I felt different. I felt ready to take it on again. So that was the one that's probably going to be the biggest thing I remember from 2021 is feeling better, because I haven't been. So
I'm the same way. 2020 sucked, but I got some stuff done. 2021 was recently done. 2021 writer-wise, I did one thing. Am I dead? Okay, I did. I published Stone Baby. I got that out in like February, and that's pretty much it. I kind of fell into just a kind of depression, but that's what I do. And then yeah, I didn't get much done. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I can't even blame anyone. I just couldn't focus. And then in September, I kind of got down even further of a black little hole that was kind of triggered by Eric's death. And I just couldn't get out of it. And I was just crying. And I didn't know why. I didn't even know the guy that well. And it just completely triggered something in me. So I went and got therapy. And it's really been helpful. Learning how my brain works, learning why my brain works. And since then, I've gotten projects to work on. I'm back. The brain is finally working. I'm thinking, and I feel more creative. I feel like I'm working on stuff. I don't feel as blocked as I was before. And I really think it was just having someone talk to me and explain to me, this is why you feel the way you feel, because this is the way your brain works, and the trauma you have experienced in blankety blank 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 is why you're feeling blankety blank blank blank. And it's just really great to have someone untwist your brain, and also listen to your stories about your life and go, yeah, that's fucked up, yeah, and just kind of help you understand that you're not alone. That was very helpful for me to have someone just explain to me why my brain does what it does.
On that note, real quick, one of the things that was pivotal for me at the 20 books thing is there's a woman named Becca Syme, Syme. And the 20 books the 20 books sessions, most of them were recorded. And so they're on the 20 books to 50K YouTube channel. But look up her. She's got one called Stuck, Blocked, or Burnt Out. And it's really cool, especially if you've got an analytical type of mind, because she says, okay, if you're stuck, you can be stuck for these reasons. And if it's this, do this. If it's that, do that. If it's this other thing, do the other thing. If you're burnt out, it's this, or this, or this. And, and it was I came away from that session particularly emotional, like feeling like, oh my God, somebody knows and they understand how to get out of the hole, right? So if anybody out there is struggling, look for Becca Syme's.
I'll find it. I'll find it on the YouTube channel and put the link in the description.
Yeah,
yes, I'm gonna look for it too.
It was so good. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't write much in 2021 either, but for entirely different reasons, because I channeled all my creativity into my art this year with getting my Redbubble store expanded and getting my book cover site set up. So I was creating, just not writing. I was creating art. So in figuring out Photoshop and doing a lot of cursing in between.
So much cursing.
That is part of the process.
Yes, it is.
Big time part of the process.
In terms of me, I don't think anyone has had an easy 2021. And everyone's come up with different challenges. The thing is that I did publish two poetry collections. One is The Rhyme of the Wicked Mystery. The other one is Ballads of Hope and Joy. Drastically polar collections. One is positive and heartfelt and fun. Not another one has, I don't know how many deaths. The thing is that both of those projects I actually wrote, edited, and published pretty much entirely in 2021, because I was kind of stuck with other projects and I needed something to get me going. And those two projects helped me get going. And I did progress several other projects. One is being the translation of 2020. I do have a bilingual collection, and I wanted to do fully English and full Spanish versions. So I did that, and I was also doing the second volume of the Daydreams on the Sherbert Shore, which is middle grade short stories. And the thing is that everything was flowing well until everything stopped flowing well, and work situation changed. Everything changed, and I had some really good beta feedback from 2020, and then some very mixed feedback from the second volume of the Daydreams on the Sherbet Shore. Some people loved it. Some people did not give a shit about it. And everything combined, and I was trying to do pretty much everything, and it got to a point where I was like, dude, you can drop it. You have no obligations, because it doesn't matter how many people ask about the human cycle and when you're going to finish it. If you only have 9 reviews on the second book, it's on them to put better pressure on you to finish the damn series. And I basically dropped most of my projects for the rest of 2021. I've moved it to 2022. I will take my time. I will do things at my pace, which can be very crazy or can be not even a snail's crawl, and just be happy with it. So I've learned to accept what I'm dealt with and what I can put out.
That's excellent.
Well, it's.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, I was going to say it's encouraging to hear some people working through the awful times we've been having. I mean, I also learned that I have feelings, because as an American man born in the 60s, I've spent my life trying not to have any feelings.
Right, yes.
And it turns out they're just awful.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
So I really feel like I had a line on a good plan before this all happened.
I was going to say, for me, the thing that really resonated for me artist-wise was the opportunity to get out and be somewhere, and not here. I can't tell you enough how refreshing it was to fly to Atlanta. I mean, the flights sucked and all that, but that's beside the point. And traffic in Atlanta, I don't know how you guys travel. It's fucking terrible. But other than that, hanging out with a bunch of people I've known for a long time, and doing it in person. And I couldn't have picked a better event. I couldn't have been more fortunate to be invited to a better event. I think Multiverse was absolutely amazing. I think they did it perfectly. I mean, it just was kismet. It all worked out. And like Vanessa, once I left there and then I went and saw some friends, and that was awesome to meet a bunch of friends that I had never actually met in person before as well, and get to hang out with them for the weekend and really do all that. I had this renewed energy, and I went right after my first novel and did a lot of work that I was ignoring and not, putting to the side to kind of work on me. And so that was really, really great. And having that energy, creative energy, it was what I was missing. So I was very happy to have it. And I couldn't have picked a better place to do it at. I thought that was really great.
And we were happy to have you. And, that's a good point that I find that when my reserves are really low, what helps to recharge is being around my tribe, right? Being with my people. And that's what got me through the pandemic. No joke. Especially the early part, when it was more scary because there was so much unknown, right? Yeah. So that cannot be discounted enough. If you're struggling, find your tribe and surround yourself with your tribe, and even if you're not really sure who that is, look, because they're out there.
Well, speaking of which, one of somebody's got some Ron having feelings. Regine sympathizes with you, sir. As do I.
Being human sucks. Yeah.
Ugh, the worst.
It is.
Okay, so now that we've had this wonderful therapy session and
oh my God,
the depths of our souls, and realized that 2021 was as much a dumpster fire, if not more so, than 2020. Although I really felt like 2020 was a giant dumpster fire, but that's for personal reasons, not artist reasons. Actually, artist reasons too. I didn't do shit in 2020. Yeah, but the last 2 years have just been, complete dumpster fires. Hopefully, we can stamp those out. So, yes. In 2022, what do you hope changes for you as an artist? What are you looking forward to? Hopefully, getting past, putting what going to help you put out the dumpster fire in 2022 for you?
More cocaine.
All right. Hey. I want to mention real quickly Facebook, YouTube, and all the algorithm that these opinions are not of Go Indie Now. They are strictly of the guests, and I do not have any responsibility toward what they say or what they do. Thank you.
For me, I just hope I can keep this feeling for a while.
That's great.
That's really what I hope for.
Nice.
I'm just hoping to be able to. I'm focusing on one thing. I'm going to finish this project that I'm working on instead of being pulled. A little ADHD chipmunk brain gets going, and I'm pulled in all the places. No, do this, then you can do those. So I'm going to be that guy. That's my thing right now. I'm focusing on this one thing, and by the end of the year, because I've written it down, I want to have at least the first draft. I'm not expecting this thing to be publishable, because what this is a big thing I'm working on, and it's I'm hoping for the very first draft at the end of the year. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Well, I will start the year with an event.
Yay.
I haven't done an event since 2019. I will be going to Puerto Rico to the Puerto Rico Comic Con. Right now, they're having an event in a town called Barranquitas, and it looks like a lot of fun and a lot of wonderful people coming together. The thing about Puerto Rico is that everyone is masking up. It's got a 90% vaccination rate, so it has a lot of stuff that helps me cope with the whole going into public situation.
Yes.
And that's on a personal level. I know some people don't care. I know everyone has a different opinion. For me, the things that they're doing for the Puerto Rico Comic Con, the things that they're asking people to do, and the way that people are cooperating in most events in Puerto Rico definitely helps me do that, get my feet wet. In terms of projects, I have a lot of stuff going. I'm not going to announce. I'm not going to telegraph. I'm also not going to surprise people because I draw ballots of hope and joy with like 3 days of events. It's like, hey, this weekend I'm going to drop a new book, and people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't a surprise to me because I know your secret, but that's fine. Can I tell everybody?
Go.
That JD publishes a book every Mother's Day since he started publishing. So,
and that will go on as long as I live.
Yay!
Aw,
I love that.
It's really cool. It's something that he's always done, and it's really neat. It's really amazing. But I was gonna say too, they must be doing something right because they got a big name to come and hang out with you guys at the event. Kevin Smith. Yeah,
Kevin Smith will be there on Saturday.
Wow.
So anybody who was on the fence about going to Puerto Rico in January. Is it January? It's January, right?
It's January 14th to 16th, but he's going to be on the 15th. In terms of weather, January, and in terms of surf.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Look at this face. Look at this face. It's a good time to go to Puerto Rico.
I would, but I have Park City to go to this year, so which is not a good surf town. Just saying.
I suspect.
Anyway, how about for you, Anita? What are you looking for?
There's a lot of editing in my future because I crammed 4 books into November. So
wow.
Well, they're not all finished, but one of them is. So I have to edit that, and I have to edit the first horror novel and the first story and short story. And I don't want to do it, but I must. So, because I've been promising to edit the short story for like 2 months, and my newsletter is probably going to kill me if I don't. So that has to be done this month, and then edit the horror novel next year and the fairy tale thing next year, and finish the rest of it. And and still juggle 3 businesses all the while. So,
jeez, I don't know where you get your extra time.
Yeah, no.
So
I don't either.
Magic.
My actual hope for change for next year is just to figure out how to be as productive as I want to be and need to be and ought to be. So
Nice. Awesome.
I will say ought and should are very dangerous and not helpful words when you're struggling like that, at least in my experience of the last 2 years. Ought and should, those are the things that kept me down more. Maybe not more, but at least as much as what was happening, because I was feeling like I was not doing the things I should be doing which made me feel guilty for
Yes.
not doing the things I should be doing, which only kept me from doing things. So, and that may not be the case for you at all, but I'm just tossing it out there as my experience.
I don't know
it's a
how.
great point.
No, I don't know how many DJ Khaled sounding indie authors were like, "Now's your time. You gotta hustle." And it's like, you know what? First off,
Step back.
I'm not a fan of DJ Khaled, the human. Have never heard his music. Won't ever hear his music. Second off, you do you. You make sure that you're okay. And if you are okay and you're in a good headspace, then you can hustle and hustle your way. Okay. Don't do everything. Don't toss everything on yourself, because
what
that's
you
what
can.
I did at one point this year, and it imploded and it blew up in my face. So
Right.
take it from someone who tried going at the same pace that he was going in April and May when the situation changed, because I was like, I can still do this. No, I can't. It's okay to say no, you can't.
Yeah. It comes down to what you can do. not
Exactly.
necessarily what you
And
should.
it got to the point where it's like, what can I do? It's not like sometimes people are like, no, it's not that. It's physically, mentally, and emotionally unable to do the thing.
Mhm.
And being, getting to the point where you're okay with that, that was a huge lesson.
Yes. Allowing yourself grace for those struggles. I mean,
Yes.
we would allow our friends, our closest friends, we allow them more grace than we allow ourselves. At least for me, and for a lot of people I know. And it's like, okay, at some point, the universe basically kicks you in the teeth and says, you are not a special snowflake. I mean, for real. So I'm not a special snowflake. Clearly, the universe has decided this. So.
All right. I think we answered question 3 basically with this question. So, yeah. So, why don't we do this? Why don't we give everybody a chance to breathe and, acknowledge their feelings if they want to, deal with them or not. Totally up to them. It's totally up to you how you do for this next 5 minutes. But we do have an indie connection, and it's a holiday edition, so maybe it'll lift your spirits a little bit. And as CL Cannon often does anyway, at least for myself, I really appreciate the idea of the indie connection and what she does and how she does it. And so here you go. It is not the last indie connection of the year. I will say that. However, it is the last one that we will produce live. So, well, it's not live either.
This was always recorded.
Anyway, yeah, because well, she's been in her car on the show and live before. But anyway, enjoy the indie connection, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, C.O. Kidden here from Fiction Atlas Press, bringing you another indie connection. Today I'm going to be telling you about some indie books that you might enjoy if you're a fan of In the Holidays by Kristen Lauren. I'm actually reading this book right now. It is hilarious. It's really good. The books that I have for you today are some indie holiday rom-coms. They do not have the sort of Groundhog's Day time travel, time loop issue that this book has, because this book is so unique and I really recommend you read it. But these indie books are also have some of the same vibes as In a Holidays. So I hope you enjoy them. The first book I have for you is called 8 Days of Christmas by Starla de Cruyff. Holiday magic? Check. Swoon-worthy romance? Check. Complications of epic proportions? Check. Ready or not, Isabella Whitley is returning to her snowy hometown of Pine Ridge, Colorado for her sister's Christmas wedding. She wants in and out unscathed. Unlikely. A decade ago, she headed to New York and hasn't looked back. Now she must explain her disappearing act to not only her family, but the high school sweetheart she left behind as well. Enter Leo Hoffman. He's frosty after striving and failing to forget Isabella, the only woman capable of jingling his bells. Since his brother is marrying her sister, Leo is forced to celebrate 8 days of Christmas with Isabella and her family, a tradition where they perform a different holiday activity each day leading up to December 25th. Soon their close proximity brings back memories, and the inability to keep their hands off one another. There's only one problem. Isabella's ex unexpectedly enters the equation, and she faces a difficult choice. Listen to her heart or her head. Isabella will need to decide once and for all where she belongs. The second book I have for you is called The 12 Holidays by Emma St. Clair. If someone tells you that waiting for your boyfriend in a giant stocking is a good idea, they're wrong. I learned this the hard way when I discovered my boyfriend is cheating on me. Once again, I find myself crying on the very broad and sturdy shoulders of my best friend, Weston. And even though he rejected me when we were kids, my feelings for Weston start bubbling back to the surface. Especially when he insists that we work our way through the list of 12 holidates I had planned for my ex. 12 dates with my super hot and totally perfect BFF? Okay, you don't have to ask me twice. Only the dates continue to be disasters. The biggest disaster of all is the way I'm about to get my heart crushed again by my best friend. Because I can't hide my feelings anymore, and I don't think being just friends is enough. Winning over Weston would take a Christmas miracle. The third book I have for you is called The Elle Project by Summer Dowell. True love should never be put to a family vote. Elle. All I wanted was a nice, relaxing Christmas vacation at home with my family. But no, a lot of them had to ruin it by inviting my childhood crush, Oliver Moore, and throwing us together at every possible moment. Heaven help me. Now, instead of sipping hot cocoa by the fire, I'm dodging matchmaking attempts and trying to pretend I'm not attracted to Oliver's adorably perfect smile. I will not become another one of my family's projects. Oliver. I mean, am I upset Ellie's family swindled us into this Christmas vacation together? No. Will I ever admit that out loud? Also no. I've long ago come to terms with the friend zone Elle placed me in back around 9th grade. But there's something different about her this week. Something that's bringing up feelings I really should ignore. Too bad ignoring has never been my strong suit. And the last book I have for you is called 3 Bells, 2 Bows, and 1 Brother's Best Friend by Willa Nash. I pride myself on being grounded. Sure, I've had my share of childhood fantasies, winning an Oscar, winning the lottery, winning an Olympic medal for an athletic talent I have yet to discover, but the only fantasy I ever thought might actually happen was winning my brother's best friend, Heath Holliday. My crush on him has ebbed and flowed over the years, but the day I started working for his construction company was the day I smothered it for good. Sort of. Mostly. It was on my to-do list. Making it a priority would have been easier had he not arrived at his family's annual Christmas party looking ridiculously handsome in a suit. Then he kissed me. We stepped into an alternate universe and he kissed me. I assumed the next day I'd just be Guy's little sister again. The office newbie. Our kiss forgotten, except he keeps showing up at my house with gifts. A gold bracelet carrying 3 jingle bells, 2 dainty jeweled earrings, each shaped as a bow, and finally, he brought himself. 1 brother's best friend, asking if I can keep a secret. Okay, that's all from me this week. I'll see you next week on The New Connection. Bye.
All right. Thanks as always to CL Cannon for those wonderful books. I hope that you guys go check those out. The links will be in the description, and you can go get yourself some nice holiday cheer or some interesting romance novels, it sounds like. So everybody go check those out. And as always, like I said, she's so great at what she does, and I really appreciate it. And we've got one more episode of the Indie Connection for 2021, so I'm real excited about that. And it's a very special episode, and I can't tell you about it, but you will see it. You will learn about it very soon.
Ron's raising his hand.
Yeah, Ron.
Well, I have a complaint.
Uh-oh.
I did the homework, so you can't skip question 3. I mean, this is bullshit. You can't assign work and then
You
not
understood
collect
the
it.
assignment. Okay.
I did not put a lot of.
Okay, fine.
All right.
I didn't.
Very
What's
very
question
well.
3? What's question 3?
True.
I didn't put a lot of effort in.
No, you've made a
But
very valid point.
Question was, what is something you will definitely be doing in 2022 that you didn't in 2021? And I had my work answer, Amazon ads, and then
Nice.
My personal answer was, get out of the house more. You know, the atmosphere is just draining. And as an interesting aside, I don't know how many of you come from families with lots of kids and then are also the favorite for your whole life, but I did that, and it was great until now, where my mom cannot stand me because she doesn't know who I am, and I'm just a stranger that keeps her out of the kitchen and watches her. Um,
I'm sorry,
the
sir.
end. The the end of that story.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so rough.
Awful.
Hey, at least I was the favorite for 50 years. You know
Yeah,
me.
you are.
That's better than all of my brothers.
Ah,
Just saying. Not that there was a competition, because there really wasn't. I mean, I was so far
wasn't
ahead.
there? There was.
No, I mean, I won so badly, so poorly that there was no competition. I mean, it was.
Okay, to offer another answer of something that I didn't do in 2021 or something that I haven't done much of, and I will be publishing in Spanish. So at the very least, one book, at the very most 3 or 4. It's a
Congrats.
possibility. So for anyone who's been patient enough from Puerto Rico and other Spanish-speaking countries in terms of wanting to read me, and why the hell don't I do something in Spanish? 2022.
Yay.
Nice.
In 2022, I'm going to do more marketing, and I'm in 2 different cons that are coming up. One's Canuga in Chattanooga, and the other one's going to be in Nashville. It's a Comic City thing in Nashville. That's going to be in March. So I'm doing more cons in 2022. That's professional. Also, I want to start doing more marketing, trying to be professional. But personally, I think I'm just going to, I don't know, just keep on keeping my meat prison healthy as I possibly can. Eat better, keep with Pilates, and get back with the therapist. So other than that, that's what I'm going to try to keep going. Just keep this together as much as I possibly can. I'm sliding towards 60, people. This is,
I feel that.
yeah.
By the way, are you going to consistently change the mask of your
Yes, I
bony
do,
friend?
actually. I'm glad you noticed. Yes,
Yes.
it's got the chicken mask
bone.
on today.
Chicken bone.
Chicken bones. Chicken
Please
bones.
write a book with the title Meat Prison.
Yeah.
Prison. On the list. Meat
I really like
prison. I'm often using that when I go to Pilates. I go, come on, guys, let's get this meat prison moving. And they all look at me like, because this is Pilates. And
Not really a crowd.
Okay,
they're not my people, let's put it that way. And it's all housewives and very rich people. And then there's me. So
you have to
with my
do
Cthulhu
quirky,
tank top and all that. It's great fun. So.
you have to do quirky, weird, gothic Lululemon. It would be like, Lala, I don't know what, blood orange.
Oh, yes. Meat
That would work.
prison. Okay.
With it you probably don't want to wear makeup in the class. I was going to say with a deep mascara or something like that.
People do. People who come in
I'm
full
sure.
makeup, full hair done, dribbling in jewelry. And I'm like, bitch, we're about to get all sweaty and nasty. What are you doing? But they don't get sweaty and nasty. I do. I'm there hurting myself.
Vanessa,
Anyway,
do you guys want to answer the question?
I'm going to be writing a low content nonfiction book
Ooh.
next year, and love triangles.
Oh no!
They are
Wow.
love triangles with a demon and 2 humans, but they're love triangles.
Yay!
Oh, look at
All
that.
right.
Nice.
Cool.
I wouldn't doubt that somebody dies in that, though.
I hope so.
Me too.
Vanessa,
For 2022, I am definitely going to be finishing my Vela project and then releasing it as an ebook and maybe a print book, depending on how long it ends up being. I'm also going to focus on Amazon ads, getting back to those. So Ron, you and I are in the same boat. And personally, I need to get control of the meat package again, the meat prison, because I gained a lot of weight over the last 2 years and I am not feeling good about it. It's definitely a big problem. And so I've already started working on, as a matter of fact, right before I got on here, I'm doing intermittent fasting and I was like, all right, I'm getting my coffee now. Damn it.
Yeah.
So that's the personal focus for this year, I think.
nice.
That's
For
a
me-
good one.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife was like, should we just give up on losing weight while we're here helping your parents, living with your parents? And I said no, but I've been acting like yes.
Yes.
Uh,
I would
and
need all
since
the carbs. I'm
and
sorry.
since I love
need all
to
the carbs.
bake, my wife and
Yeah.
I love to cook and bake.
Yes.
I mean,
Have the
we made
carbs.
5 pies for Thanksgiving,
That's
Ooh.
right. You
and
did,
there were
yes.
5 of us eating.
Perfect.
That is a
I see
very
nothing wrong.
unhealthy pie to
Amount
person
of
ratio,
pies.
but it was awesome.
Yes.
So the square root of pi is your gut.
There's a reason I only showed this much.
Oh, I have nothing on underneath. This is pretty much it. I thought you were
You
getting
have nothing on. What?
Yeah.
That's a
I
whole different thing.
I have many clothes on, but I still don't want people to see it.
All right. For me, 2022 is already actually starting because I've started it last week, and that is I'm moving into the audio realm. So I'm glad that Ron made us answer this question. But yeah, myself and my friend Adam Johnson have started a podcast. It's all audio only for now. We're talking about video a little bit later, but right now it's only audio because I kind of want to do that. I haven't done that. So
What's it called?
it's called Kingdom of Heavy, and it is
yes.
us talking about heavy metal and fantasy books. So the two things that one of the things that I've loved all my life, and one of the things I've been around all my life that I'm now in my later life enjoying. So fantasy books have become something that I've learned to love, and I had a deep distaste for them simply because it was kind of shoved down my throat as a child, and I have a sibling and a father who were deep into fantasy books and all of that. So I just
Rebelling.
as Anita so eloquently put, I just wanted to be a rebel. So I didn't embrace it, and I didn't enjoy it, and for a long time I was adverse to it. And so now that I've been reading a lot more and doing my blog for reviews and writing a fantasy series, I guess that is something new as well. But I started that this year. But I am writing a fantasy series, and so all of that for me is 2022 ahead, and I've got another idea for another audio podcast that I've talked to a couple people about. So I'm really gonna lean heavy on that this year. Obviously, Go Indie Now is not going anywhere, and we're going to continue to do that. But I have a lot. I already have a lot going on, so, as usual. But anyway, that's how that goes. So, Ron says distaste or prejudice, and I don't know. That's a good question, to be honest with you. I think for me, a lot of what fantasy, because I'm indoctrinated with the older style of fantasy. There was no indie fantasy. There was no new fantasy. I mean, Sanderson wasn't even a thing when I was a child. I mean, I know that he'd probably published by then, but it was really all about Robert Jordan, Tolkien, and if you're and Frank Herbert, and if you're indoctrinated with those guys, you're kind of like you're learning the textbook version of fantasy, which is here's all my information, and you do what you want with it, and you can try to find the story. It's like kind of that joke that Jim Gaffigan says about putting bacon bits in a salad. It's no longer a salad. It's searching for the bacon bits. Well, that's kind of how I felt. It's kind of how I felt about fantasy. It wasn't about the salad anymore. It was about trying to find a story within the salad. So, so I've always had that. That's the aversion that I've always had toward it. And then
I have a Tolkien block because when I was in high school, there were a bunch of girls who I desperately wanted to be friends with, and they were all, all Gladriel and dressed all fancy. I wanted to be a part of that. And they said that I wasn't good enough. You're not one of our kind. So I was like, and so I Tolkien block. Whenever I tried to read Tolkien, all I think of is those bitches. I just can't. Even I'm 56 years old, I'm still like those bitches. So I can't. I watched the movies and I was just like, oh, I'm so bored. Who cares anymore?
Sounds like you got
Eagles.
some shit.
What's with the Eagles? I was so pissed off. Eagles?
Like you got some shit to talk about with your therapist.
I do. I got more therapy. Trust me, my therapist loves me. She goes through so many pads. It's just Yeah, it's.
I recommend
gotta
you
say,
not do a podcast about Tolkien.
people love that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Saying.
Yes, I've had
It's
many.
called bitching about Tolkien. That's my new
Yeah.
podcast. Bitching about Tolkien.
Nikki mentioned Eric earlier, and
Yeah.
I've had many knockdown fights. I had many drag out knockdown fights with him about this very subject about
But Tolkien?
Yeah.
What was his view on Tolkien?
Yeah, it was like a warm hug for him. He,
Really?
yeah, he embraced it wholeheartedly. But yeah,
No.
I just always have had that aversion. So, but in discovering indies and Sanderson and
What the hell
I
happened?
hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Oh, thank God.
That
I
was,
thought
that
it was
was
very dramatic. I really like that.
Like this is a surprise segment.
yeah.
Very much reinforced your position.
But that's how I've
Extra
always
question.
that's
Okay.
always how I viewed it. So yeah, I mean, but in finding newer fantasy, I've actually come to embrace it a lot more.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so let's get to the last question here, and that is at least one thing you thought was good about 2021 for you as an artist or as a person. We'll let that be, part of it as well. So.
God.
We're done.
Lots of pretty things.
What'd you say, Nina?
I said I drew lots of pretty things in 2021.
Yes, you
So
did.
yeah, I got back into my drawing and my art as well as this doing the graphic design. So
Yeah.
I'm
Open
not
the
very
door.
good with my alcohol markers yet, but I am trying. So
Oh,
You also-
alcohol markers.
Yeah, I
I'm
know,
thinking
that's
alcohol markers.
I-
Oh, okay.
One thing that I appreciate that Anita did for me in 2021 was The Words That Kill, a fantastic series that I still have to produce a lot of episodes for.
yes, our
Will
schedule
happen,
went out the
everybody.
window, didn't it?
Yeah, which will happen, but I promise. Yeah, I
don't
blew
worry.
out the deadline long ago, but
Yeah. It's like, I figured out a little while ago, Joe's not going to keep to the schedule.
yeah. It was tough, but and I apologize
so
for that.
I'm not
But
surprised
they'll
though
come
with
out. I
everything
promise
going
they'll
on.
be out. They'll be out very, very soon. In fact, I was working on one yesterday. So
Okay.
I think for me, basically going back to stoicism, I can only do what I can, and I'm not going to worry about what I should be doing. I've been focused on that a lot
Nice.
because it just energy. You can only put out so much energy. I only have so many spoons, and I'm done. And if I don't have any more spoons, I simply stop. I don't think, I have to get these things. Who? The queen's not coming over. The floors can stay dirty. It's okay. It's a Southern thing. I'm constantly fighting against that about keeping the house. The house can go to hell. No. That's 2022. The house can go to hell. That's the name of my new title. So.
And there is no spoon.
And there is no spoon. So fucking spoons.
Well, I sharpened all my spoons into little shivs. So
There's no spoons, only forks. Okay, gotcha.
little stabby things.
Yes.
Everything's. Don't mess with me. I'm gutting you more.
So eating trifle and yogurts is a careful affair for you.
It's a talent. Yeah.
Pinkies
All right.
up.
JD, Vanessa, Ron, you guys want to?
I think, go ahead, JD. No, I'm not gonna. You're not gonna go. I will
No.
go. Okay. I think at least in 2021, I got to move back into my house, which was nice.
Yes.
But also work-wise, I've been pretty on schedule with the Vella's the new the super secret serialized fiction project that Amazon has had in the works for a year but won't tell the readers about. So I've been I've missed a couple. I put one out on Friday, and I've missed a couple over the course of the year, but I have mostly been on track with that. So that's something that I look back on going, all right, I'm proud of you, girl. I'm proud.
I've every year I connect with different little pockets of people, special people in different platforms. And for this year, and people who surprise you in very unique ways. Someone read Given to Fly, which is my middle grade. This book, favorite song from Pearl Jam. Obviously, that's what influenced the title. And they did a review video on YouTube that was so sweet and with an animation and stuff
Oh.
that and again, I keep finding pockets like that. It's like I don't have a huge following or anything like that, but that people that care, they care hard, and that fuels more than I think a lot of people know.
It does.
For you, Ron.
For me, both for how I feel about writing it and personally, the good thing was meeting a lot of writers and participating in shows like this that really I would say was my most effective treatment for battling depression after alcohol.
Oh yes, well after
Yes. Priorities.
Kidding. I mean, I have, my wife and I normally don't drink a lot, and we've been drinking more, but not
In excess.
well, not in like oh, I'm going to cope with my life by
Right.
drinking way. We talk about that. We'll be like, oh, I need a drink today, and then we don't drink. Because that's not really where I want to be. Is anything bad happens and I drink a bunch. I want it to be fun, not awful.
Right.
But yeah, no, thank you to all of you guys, and especially you, Joe, for all the opportunities, because it has meant a lot to me and really been good for me to get to spend time insulting all of you folks.
Thank you.
And your insults are my favorite insults.
Yes.
Like, thank you. That's so sweet.
Stop with the feelings.
Yeah. Come
I'm
on.
gonna have such a great cleansing cry when this show's over.
It's like Ron is so proper, and then he's like, and by all means, please remember, go fuck yourself. And
Yeah.
I will. I do have to tell you guys one thing, which is that when you're, writing humor and joking around and stuff, you can say anything, and it can be completely honest, and people think you're kidding and laugh, which
Yep.
Oh yes.
is very rewarding.
Because it's like you have your own little inside joke.
Yeah.
With your
Well,
I mean,
before we close out the show, and this was fully intentioned by me. None of these people knew that this was going to happen, by the way.
Uh-oh.
But I have to say, every single person. I'm so glad that this is the panel this week, and there's a few other people I need to express this towards as well. And I will. They're going to be in future shows. That we still have shows. Everybody, we got Joe's Bar on Friday. We've got the Year in Indies still, and everything like that. So there's a lot of shows still to come for us in 2021. We're not done by any stretch of the imagination. But for today, these folks are gonna. And Ron, I'll repeat this for Ron on Friday, and for Nikki as well. But I have to say, for each and every one of you here, you've done something for me in 2021 that I can never repay ever, and that is really important to me, and I really, really appreciate that. And for Nikki, just every day that I open my phone, and she and I have gotten into this habit over the last month of sending each other videos and laughing and enjoying it, and plus just just having her join us in this group and everything this year was really. I mean, she really did it last year, but she really came alive this year, and it was really important to me, and I just really I really appreciated that. It gets me through in mornings when I don't feel like getting up or doing things. So I'm really thankful to that. For Vanessa, she welcomed me into her group and got me involved in her tribe and made me a part of that. And really, she's the catalyst for helping me get to Multiverse and being a part of that. And it really did affect me tremendously, professionally and personally, and getting to meet a bunch of people and talking to new people. And Vanessa was always responsible for that. So I'm really appreciative of that for that. For Anita, I asked her to do this show. She stepped up and she did it. And, it's on me that you don't see these episodes. She's done all of them and put it all together. And I am going to work to resolve that and hopefully have her back for a season 2 if she doesn't already dislike me for not putting out these things. but I promise I will be better about it. I know, it's hard when you're doing a bunch of stuff, but that's my problem, not anybody else's. And so I'm real appreciative of that, because that show is fantastic. She did exactly what I was hoping would happen with that show, and she's always been there for me, and she's always supported Go Indie Now, and that really, really means a lot to me, and I appreciate that so much. And for Mr. JD Estrada, I tasked him with stepping up this year and hosting some shows, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he's been so. I mean, he's one of my dearest friends, as personally, but for what we've done with Go Indie Now, I mean, he's a huge part of that, and he. Through all the turmoil that you just heard about him talking about and all the things he's done, he's always been there for me and this network. And I can't thank him enough for that, because he's an awesome host. And trust me when I say I will work very, very hard to get him to host more stuff in 2022. And you can look forward to that. And for Ron, we wouldn't have had the Tuxedo Show without Ron. Ron put that together. Ron made that happen. And it was really special because it was something that he really wanted to do, and I wanted to do that for him, and we did it, and it was a really great episode. It's one of my favorites we've ever done on this show, and he's great, like everybody was saying about injecting humor into this, and really giving us the light that we need. And I'm real appreciative of all of that. And to all of you out there, I'm real appreciative of as well. And I'll talk more about that as we get closer to the final shows of the year. But I just wanted to say that for each and every one of you. That really, I mean, it really, truly, you all are very special to me, and it means a lot. So, I really appreciate that. So now let's have everybody tell everybody where they can find you, so that we can move on with our lives. Yeah. All right, Ron, you want to start us off? We'll go the opposite direction.
Of course. I mean, I put the website in my name, so I don't have to do this, but I'm happy. Go to my website. It sucks, but it's got stuff on it. My social media stuff, my PIN number, my home phone. No, you could join my newsletters, sign up for my newsletters. Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
Whatever. Buy my books. Oh, I meant to say that all the time. Buy my books. Buy my books.
You need to. Yeah, more of that, please. All right, Anita.
Well, you can find me on my website, afstewart.ca. I've got all the books there, including the audiobooks. I've got my merch store and all my links and everything. I'm also on Facebook. I got a Facebook group, AF Stewart's Minions, where I am currently posting all that Wombo art, because I kind of went nuts with it. There's 3 posts and counting so far. Yes. Anyway, of course, it's all dark stuff.
Nice.
So if you want to, I'll be posting the Christmas Wombo stuff I did. So if you want to see a dark Krampus one, come over and see it. And next year there'll be more fairy tales, because I'm going to be publishing Fairy Tales and Nightmares, and you're going to see what happens when the Wicked Queen falls in love with Snow White. So that's what you can look forward to.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to Love Triangles from Anita Stewart, from AF Stewart. That's super intriguing.
Yeah, that one probably may get out sooner than the Fairy Tales and Nightmares, because that one's written and is going into editing. So
awesome. All right.
First book. There will be a second book, which is going to be a male triangle. So
yay.
Nice. Awesome. All right, JD.
Greetings, fellow humans. Look for me in the interwebs via JD Estrada Writer. If you're looking for Christmas stuff, this is less than half of the books that I have published. And check this out. Wait. Listen, that's that's a hefty. It's a hefty gift. It's also very valid in hand-to-hand combat. Some of the books. By all means, look me up. If you live in the U.S. or Puerto Rico, go to Tazos y Portadas, pick up my books there. They are signed and uniquely dedicated. That means that For the 40 books that I took there when I visited in July, I did a different dedication for the 40 books. It's not that another title, so I'm gonna no. I took the time out and took like a full day to do the dedications. And you'll see me on this channel. I'll be doing random stuff. I have plans, I have ideas. Let's see if they pan out. And if 2022 cooperates a little bit more.
Nice. Awesome. And I think for the third human cycle, you should have one of your characters swat somebody with your books.
That is actually quite possible. Because of something that happens in book one. By the way, do check out Joe's blog with Go Indie Now. I did a holiday video game gift buying guide. Wow, what the hell happened there?
Words are hard.
Mouth words. If you're looking for indie video games, I did a post with about 23 games. If you're tired of hearing about Fortnite and League of Legends, like different stuff, first person adventures, puzzles, platformers, a bunch of different stuff, all indie, all fun. I will be doing more reviews, so keep an eye out for that.
And the great thing about those is that you can literally download them right now. So it's not like something you have to wait for Amazon to ship to you. So, you can
Download
get those. So if you need a last minute gift, everybody, go check out that blog to do that. So, All right, Nikki.
Oh, hi, I'm Nikki Nelson. And quickly to stockings, go to my board and look me up. All my books are there. And I seem to be having technical issues, but it is what it is. And that's pretty much it. I'm working on a UFO kind of book that kind of takes the Betty Barney Hill story and twists it. So my family's very sick of listening to UFO documentaries. I'm constantly watching them, and they're kind of sick of them by now. But it's a very interesting idea that I'm working on. We'll see if it pans out.
Are you planning on torturing Jake anymore in 2022?
I do have no. Actually, 2022 is going to be focused on the UFO story. But I do have a chapter book 7. I have it all plotted out. I just haven't written it yet. But I'm working on the UFO story. When I get that done, maybe I'll do a Jake 7. I don't know. If I do it, it'll just be for me. I'll put it out under Third Crow. So, yeah.
And I'm Joe Compton. This is Go Indie Now. And Regine says, "You're getting some feelings here, Joe. I'm against those. Sorry, bud." But I apologize for that. And hey, look, you're here now. Congratulations for finding us. Thank you for being here. Smash the like button. Do everything you need to do, which is comment, subscribe, share. Tell me how bad I am at writing questions. Totally, all that is really okay. I'm all great with it. And please do that because it's very important. And for us to get seen and for more people like yourselves to find us. And with that being said, the last 5 minutes today belongs to the one and only Venessa Junta. Vanessa, it's all yours. Take it away.
Awesome. So I was originally going to talk about my books and stuff, but instead, because we've been talking so much about how much struggle we've had, I'm going to talk about my tribe. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I started a Facebook group called The Writing Tribe. You can search for it. You can search TWT and you will find it. It will be the first thing up. And I wanted it to be a support group where we can rally and, celebrate all the good stuff and, commiserate about all the rejections or whatever, because we have people who are short story writers, poets, novel writers, indie, traditionally published, a whole mishmash. And so that's what my goal was. And I feel like we've achieved that in the last year or two. But what's I'm really proud about is that for so many of us, it's what helped us get through the pandemic, because starting in, I think, April of 2020, we started doing Zoom events, all different kinds. So now at this point, we have writing sprints multiple times a week at multiple, all different times of day for people in different time zones and stuff. We also have a discussion on Sunday evenings tonight on a topic that people vote on during the week. And they are sometimes about craft, sometimes about marketing. Sometimes we just do social time. Sometimes we do brainstorming. And honest to God, it helped get me through this, everything that's happened in the last 2 years. I don't know where I would have been without my tribe. So if you're looking for a tribe, you are welcome in ours. Like I said, just search on Facebook for TWT and the Writing Tribe will come right up, and hit the join button, answer the questions, and we are happy to welcome you in. And as always, don't forget that it's always time to go indie now.